So this really has been a long, drawn out plan. And World Economic Forum are just one of the leading think tanks that are kind of handling the narrative. We talk a lot about the World Economic Forum, but indeed we understand they're just a cover group, frontmen, right? They are spokesmen for this whole thing. As I try to look at them as technocratic philosophers, if you will, because they just play with the ideas, right? Uh, Very, very interesting indeed. Now, I want to go back to the 80s since we started the show and tend to spend some time speaking about Slouch, good old Slouchy. Let's go back to the 80s. You guys are all familiar with the programming of HIV and AIDS of the 80s and how Slouchy was the man in charge. HNIC, for those who understand that acronym. He indeed was the HNIC of the entire AIDS HIV PSYOP. Now, just to give a little background, a little history, and evidence to prove that you cannot trust this man. Anything he says is clearly deceptive, but also inaccurate and blown out of proportion and hyperbolic. It's pretty clear how even way back then he was handling and treating this so-called disease, virus, whatever. Treating it the same way he's treating this whole COVID thing. And let's listen. COVID, please, algorithm, don't get me. The vid really is a set of symptoms. You got people out here talking about vid this, vid that, as if it's a virus, when it's really a set of symptoms, just like the whole HIV/AIDS thing. Ain't nothing changed, man. It's the same old thing. So let's look at this. Check this out. Just listen to his words, and we'll go into it from here.
Starting to see, as we're seeing virtually as the months go by, other groups that can be involved, and seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if
now he is talking about AIDS, okay, guys, HIV/AIDS. You heard him mention children there, didn't you? Let me run this back because it's a quick and a short little clip. I've been trying to source this original piece. Shout out to Hezekiah News. His stuff is everywhere. It's been everywhere for years. He seems to find these things, man. But I can't get a hold of the original clip of this. I eventually will. Hopefully, I'm going to keep looking. But man, yeah, shout out to Hezekiah. This guy's been around putting out the most obscure and well-found pieces of classic content for years. He's been around. Shout out to Hezekiah, man. But yeah, let me run this back and just listen. He's talking about kids and AIDS, guys.
starting to see, as we're seeing virtually as the months go by, other groups that can be involved, and seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individual who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS or at risk of AIDS, who does not necessarily have to have intimate sexual contact or share a needle, but just the ordinary close contact that one sees in normal interpersonal relationships.
Wow, wow, wow. Did you just hear that? Not only is it pretty much what we've heard verbatim regarding this whole flu thing, but he's talking about AIDS, guys. He's talking about HIV. He's talking about kids can catch it just by being in close contact. I mean, it's just, I cannot believe it. Run it back. It's run this back, man.
And seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individual who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS or at risk of AIDS, who does not necessarily have to have intimate sexual contact or share a needle, but just the ordinary close contact that one sees in normal interpersonal relationships.
Normal, ordinary, close contact within personal or interpersonal relations. Bro, like, how is that? How did that turn out? Can you believe it? I mean, all you got to do is just look back. A little history, right? A little narrative study, and it reveals itself.